We are live, Nick, coming in hot. Didn't know you were going to rip the singular on me like that. It's a pretty bold move by Nick Kirby right there. I ain't going to lie to you. But that's all right. I literally text you and said, "Are you good to go? Are you ready?" And then I look at my screen and we're live in the flesh, baby.
Through. It just came through. How you doing, buddy?
I'm doing great, Nick. Hopefully you're doing well too.
I'm doing well. Good to see you.
Good to see you, man. Let's try to finish the deal tonight here. Let's get a couple more though. It kind of feels like we need one more in a way. I don't want to jinx it, but
yeah, that would be nice.
Come on, William.
Oh,
you're ahead of me by one pitch. You're ahead of me by a pitch.
Oh man, that camera,
that dude.
Oh, hey, good job, Senzel. All right, I paused it. Let me know when you see Senzel.
Oh, dude, that ball's tanked to center.
Let me know when the ball gets thrown into second.
Balls that aren't thrown into second. Senzel tags, safe at second.
All right, we should be pretty close.
Dude. Okay.
Oh.
The center fielder also played it off, too, pretty well. He kind of was acting like that thing was gone. I don't think Will thought he got it. He knew he hit it well, but you could just tell by his reaction.
It's a long way out.
Hey, this is still a big run out there. Come on. I'm going to put the chat away. Chat, we need likes, guys. Come on. We need likes. We need likes more than ever. I don't want free baseball tonight. Isn't it wild how the combination between the camera operator and more the center fielder. The center fielder is the one that got me. He kind of was just nonchalantly jogging over there like that thing was way gone. It just wasn't. Well, this is back-to-back innings, Nick, where we had 2 outs with a guy on second base with a chance to score him.
It just kind of felt like a weird game. This game, like Reds have been in control this whole game, but you're just like, keep letting these guys hang around. That's not ideal, but
it just feels like we've I don't want to say squandered a bunch of opportunities, but it definitely feels like we've not added on to something that they've given us opportunities to add on to.
Yeah. Hi, Lakers. Had a great time in Cincy. Great to be down. Back to the grind. Back to the grind now.
Yeah. Well, it's safe to say that he's coming out. Maybe not. Well, he can't. Oh, yeah, he can. Sir Boy Wonder, good to see you. Man of honor.
Yeah, thanks for bringing up that Ellie. I meant to add that to the J bar. Let's do All-Star / Home Run Derby. We can talk about that. Shout out Robert. Appreciate that because I meant to add that and I forgot. So, leader of men.
Matt McClain. Now's the time, big dog. Need you. Come
on.
I
thought Senzel might be hurt. Reds in 4 sent me a message yesterday. Wasn't in like uniform, and with Fairchild coming up, thought maybe that was the case, but
I don't know. I don't feel like Matt McClain's seeing the ball well tonight either. I hate to say that, but
although Senzel did just pinch run, so maybe there is something, with his back or something. I don't think he hasn't hit in a while, right?
Yeah, I seen that picture as well. I don't remember. Was he not in pants either?
Yeah.
He was in shorts.
Maybe just peed his pants. happens. Oh.
Yeah,
All right.
yeah.
Well,
that's now.
here we go.
We need likes tonight, man.
Yeah. Alexis has been a little
Yeah, he's been a little shaky to say the least.
hopefully he's got that all-star extra juice in him. Although he knew before the game
and
yesterday.
Again,
So.
this game feels gross. This game feels gross, man.
Hey, gross wins count the same.
They do. I'm not.
Give
I'm
me
not
all
against it.
the gross wins. All the gross wins, baby.
I would just like a non-stressful win. Am I asking too much? I know I'm getting greedy.
That's not happening.
I'm getting
that
greedy.
That is not happening.
I'm getting greedy.
Reds rarely play games that aren't close. Like,
no.
Win or lose.
Oh, man.
This might be a little hot. Let's turn this down just a little bit. Yeah.
Been a long day. Been a long day, too. I'm glad to have you back because your boy is struggling on some of them late night podcast edits. I ain't gonna lie to you. Now, I don't even know if I really did a great job of editing because if I had the trust tree in here and I put my hand up in the air and I say something that's directly honest, it was about 12:15 last night, and I legitimately, after I kind of settled down, gotten all the kids to bed hours before, obviously, and I kind of was relaxing there, and I was like, I never got that podcast up. Nick's gonna literally execute me if I didn't get that done.
Execute might be strong.
I hopped out of bed 12:30, got to bed at 1:30, had a tea time at 8 in the morning.
Oh,
turned around and went to Kings Island today. Rode a lot of good rides too. Can't say I didn't. You a Kings Island guy?
Not really. I worked there for 7 summers, and I have not been back outside of Winterfest.
Do you like roller coasters or?
I used to, but after you work there for so long, you kind of it loses its luster a little bit.
Okay.
But
all right.
Just kind of wait till my kids are old enough to really enjoy it. They're kind of that age where 6 and 4's still a little dicey,
Yeah. A little slumped in my chair. I need to get better posture. I need to get my brain to start working again. I need some excitement. I need some energy. For some reason, I hope I'm so wrong about this. Come on, Alexis, do the damn thing. I got Alexa talking to me because I just said Alexis.
you can change the name. I changed mine to Ziggy because we have multiple ones in the house. So
JB reminded me of Ziggy.
Ziggy is my Alexa. You can change the name.
I might have to think about it. The Reds are in first place, JB. I appreciate you reminding me of that. I mean, well, they're not really right this second to be fair. I got to put the chat away. I'll tell you what, OJ, or not OJ, excuse me. That's a complete whiff on my end.
There we go.
Mouse Cop.
There we go.
Mouse Cop is something. You're still ahead of me.
Jeez.
Hold on. Now I'm just now seeing Votto catch the ball right now.
All right, one more. I think we got to be pretty close now.
Okay. We're like 4 pitches behind the world, but shout out cable television. Golly, Dave. Remember when you used to have to try to watch March Madness? Hell, you might not even know this. Back in the day, you had to buy like a super expensive cable package just to be able to watch the games and all that. And
yeah, dude, I think I'm older than you.
Oh, well, we won't count ages then. But anyway, you had to buy super expensive cable packages to watch the games. Mm-hmm. Wasn't easily available, et cetera, et cetera. I'm hoping that at some point, like Major League Baseball, just a really simple thing. You have an app, you buy the app, you get all the games. Seems like a very simple concept that we could institute. It's coming. It's coming, Nick. Don't know when, but it's coming.
I hope so.
Yeah, me too. Well, for you, when you live out of market, it's awesome.
Yeah, it actually is a major benefit to be out of market.
So you try to watch the Guardians.
Yeah, till the Reds are playing the Guardians, then
you're supposed to go to the game. That's the whole point of the blackout, right?
Yeah, I go to all the games up here. It's when the Reds are playing the Guardians and Cincy's the only time it really bothers me.
Throw it.
Ugh.
Okay. Well, for all those that are saying Matt McLain's unbelievably good, you're not supposed to make that play. But for those that are wondering what the difference is between Matt McLain and Ellie, that's possibly an example. Minute one at that. And you could argue that McLain makes all the routine plays, which you would rather have anyway. So I'm not downplaying McLain at all. It's just that play might not be made by Ellie anyway. So let's get a double play ball and get out of here. Can we do that? This kid obviously can run.
Stone Garrett.
Stone. What a name. Seems like every time I want to double play, there's always a left-hander up. Good pitch. Okay, we would like those strikes. See how far Indy is over there? That's crazy to me. That's just so wild to me. I mean, what happens if a ground ball is hit to McLain? Like, there's I don't even think you can get the guy out at second base. Got him. He's out. He's out. I think he got him. They're going to obviously review that. Maley, that is a hell of a baseball throw by Maley. No matter what happens, if he's safe or out, that's unbelievable throw, dude. Please tell me he's out one time. What a great throw, man.
Wasn't an easy pitch either.
That's a great tag. He's safe. Son of a gun, he's safe.
Wow, that's close.
I think he's safe.
Call stance.
I'm going to see it again. Call stance. Call stance.
Give me the call stance.
Throw it.
They didn't
what?
They didn't review it? What just happened?
What? You mean to tell me that the Washington's just going to hold that for the next day? They're just going to let that marinate? Nick.
I mean, I guess when you're 22 games back, you just want to start your 4th of July weekend.
Oh my gosh, bro. Oh my gosh. How do you do that?
It's a wild
Alexis,
stuff, man.
Please, brother, man. Come on. Strikes, man. Let's make him earn it, if nothing else. Let's make him earn it. Alexis is getting rushed by his pitch comm.
Oh.
Make a play. Make a play. Yeah, baby!
Woo!
Golly day, that was a big win. Huge win, Nick.
Find a way. You find a way.
Oh, man. Let's do a show. Here we go.
High drive, left center field, racing back to the Laurel Bourgeois. The Reds are National League Central Division champions. In the air, left center field. Did he? He did! He did! Reds win! Reds win! Line to the right field. Judges, the first run ever with 4 home runs in a game.
Unbelievable win. This team continues to find a way. If you haven't started believing yet, now is the time. Now's the time. It was actually like 3 weeks ago, Nick, but we'll continue to act like that holiday sale is still valid. You know, when they do that in furniture stores where they're like, well, that sale was like 2 weeks ago, it expired, but we'll still give you the same deal. Nick, Reds win 3-2 over the Washington Nationals in the nation's capital on a holiday weekend that just so happens to celebrate America. And it might be a rumor. It might be true. I don't know what it is, but it might just be America's team, and that's why the Reds won in Washington. Quick thoughts. We got a lot of chat popping. I know that. We'll get to that in a minute. But overall, quick thoughts, and then obviously we'll get into the box score recap. Nick, I'm glad to see you back in the studio, by the way. Thank the Lord Jesus that you're there.
Good to be back in Kirby Studios after a fun weekend in Cincinnati. Be back here in a couple weeks, so quick turnaround. But good to be back. Good to get this win tonight. Just kind of felt like a game that you let the Nats hang around, and a lot of old Reds teams, Trace, I think they might have let that game slip through their hands, but not this team, not this year. No chance.
Thank you for the super chat, Scott. And I like that. I like that idea. I like this shirt. He said, I'm a buyer of a one-time C-Box merch. Make it happen. One time. I mean, if you don't know it's a little bit of a bit, but you know what? I feel in my heart, I feel serious when I say it. And it's like, just one time right here. That's all we're asking. And we did it. Alexis Diaz, I didn't want to jinx it. I didn't want to bring any negative energy to the chat. Didn't want to bring any negative vibes, positive vibes only. It really did feel, Nick, that this was the game that you blow the save and you lose because you had opportunities to extend the lead. You weren't able to. It felt a little gross just in general. But Diaz is our lone all-star, and he showed why tonight. I don't know. Melee had something to do with that too. Holy smokes, was that a dart? We'll probably get into that in a little bit. But that was the that defensive player of the year from a catcher so far. I know there hasn't. Trying to think through my head how many there's even that even give it a rival. But that was a perfect pitch to throw down to second. It was well executed. And I also would like to give Melee some credit, or not Melee some credit, but McLean some credit for the tag because that was a good tag as well.
Yeah, I mean, I think Sally's made a couple really nice, impactful throws throughout the year. But, yeah, I mean, that was as big of a play as you'll see and just completely, squashed that Nats rally in the ninth. And Diaz didn't strike anyone out tonight, so maybe didn't have his best stuff. So he gets on second base, ball sneaks through, infield's maybe playing a little different. You have a 3-3 game going to extra innings, and Reds have kind of worked through a lot of the relievers. So, yeah, good stuff there.
There's a good amount to get into. Nick, if you're ready for the box score recap, let's do that. I don't want to bounce all over the place too much tonight. But as always, the box score recap brought to you by Nick Kirby. Hit him with it, Nick.
All right. Reds Nats first to 4 in our nation's capital. And Luke Dreamweaver, how about him tonight? Put up a scoreless first inning, which is, if anyone knows, has been a rarity this year for Luke. So pitched well tonight. Got through 5 innings, 2 earned runs. One of those was brought in by Jabot, but really pitched well. Really just gave up a solo home run to I'm not going to try to butcher the young man's name in the 4th inning. That was really the only blemish on his night. Tyler Stevenson got the Reds on the board in the 2nd with an RBI single as he stayed hot. 2 hits and also walked today. And then Joey Votto, really the biggest play of the game, hit a 2-run homer, scoring Ellie De La Cruz, made it 3-0 at that point. And then like I said, the Nats were able to get 2, but the Reds bullpen, who has been a little shaky of late, Trace, came through. Jabot did allow the one inherited runner to score, but got through the inning, didn't allow any other runs. Then Buck Farmer, a perfect inning. Derek Law, perfect inning in his return. And then Alexis Diaz did give up a hit, but got the job done. His 24th save of the year. Reds 46-39, keeping pace with the now red-hot Milwaukee Brewers, who came back that were down 6-0 to Reed Mouse's Cubs, and they just completely choked today. So Reds and Brewers still tied.
46-39, man.
Hey, we just, I think that if I did my math right, we just secured a first half winning record, right?
Man. Oh, Nick, come on, man. We ain't going to go down that path, brother. Come on. We're not talking about winning records when we're 46-39 with like 7 games. But we're 46-39, brother. We're 46-39. Oh,
I did not
my
think we were gonna
gosh,
be here.
man.
Did not see this
46-39. You can't leave if you're a Reds fan and you can't just like kind of giggle at that, laugh just a little bit, then come on, man, lighten up a little bit. I mean, this is absolutely astonishing. But you know what? This is how we get to this point, is that we keep winning these close games. We find ways to win games that the offense didn't. I don't want to say they didn't hold their end up of the bargain, but the offense struggled tonight. For the most part, weren't able to score that many runs, and sure enough, lo and behold, the one time Luke Weaver decides he's going to actually go out there and not give up 20 runs in the first inning, he decides tonight's the night, and next thing you know, the perfect formula keeps on just spitting it out, baby. I don't know how it is. It's a secret recipe they're cooking down there at Great American. By all means, I hope David Bell continues to keep on putting whatever he's putting into the juice, because it's the magic stuff. It reminds me of Space Jam, like magic secret stuff. That's how this team feels at times. I don't know what else to say. But Dream Weaver, I think he's probably the first guy to start with. We talked about, what do we do with the starting pitching, Nick? How do we fix it? We got to go out and get guys, and we got to get them fast. And I'm not acting like that isn't still a bad idea. I'm not opposed to that a little bit. But the easiest solution, as we've said before, is the guys that pitch on a given night with us right now need to throw the ball better. Your thoughts on the Dreamweaver?
Yeah, I mean, he obviously needed this. I think Reds Twitter watching Luke Weaver this year needed it, maybe more than Luke himself. But
right.
Yeah, this was a good performance. Look, this isn't a good Nationals team. This is a Nationals team that actually is I think 4th in batting average in baseball, but they don't walk at all, which is kind of their, as a young team, they're the anti-Cincinnati Reds. Yeah, I mean, look, he kept this team in the game. It was just so great to see him come out, throw a scoreless first inning. I was just like, thank you. And then after that, you kind of felt like, hey, he's probably going to pitch well. Right. Like, he just got to get through that first inning. And he's able to do it today. Hopefully he can build off. He's going to have one really, really big start this weekend against the Brewers. He's going to have a second game of that series following Abbott, which is going to be a huge, huge series for the Reds. And, Trace, it'll be interesting to see after that start, where do the Reds pencil in Luke in the second half? Does he get another start against the Brewers? That'd be kind of funny if he finishes with 2 starts, and then he's one of the 3 guys the Reds put in that first series after the All-Star break against the Brewers, as they play him sandwiched between the All-Star break.
Yeah. I mean, I don't know what else there is to say outside of the fact that. What was that, Nick? What is that?
Dreamweaver.
You hear that? He deserves this, guys. Come on, let's just soak this in for a minute. All right, it's just worth the copyright strike. Okay, just if you can't enjoy Dreamweaver night. All right, that'll do it before we get ripped right off of YouTube in no time. But, if you can't enjoy Dreamweaver night, then you're not living right. I can't help you, I mean, yeah, from time to time, it's a little rocky, just like the racer, just like the beast. It's a little rough. It's a little rough at times, Nick. But you can't tell me it's not a thrill. You can't tell me that when you get off of it at the end, you're like, you know what, that was a little sketchy, but you know what, I kind of enjoyed that. That was a fun night. That is Luke Weaver. Dreamweaver, as some say. I'm all in on him. I know it's going to crash and burn at some point. I'm aware of that. I'm not naive to it. But by golly, You can't tell me that it's not enjoyable to watch him pitch sometimes. All right.
I love a player like Luke Weaver. I don't know what it is, but when the entire Reds fan base hates a player, I'm just drawn to that person. I root for that person so hard. I want them to succeed. I don't know. Luke Weaver is my guy in 2023. It was Will Myers, but they cut him. So all my energy's on you, Luke. It's all on you.
All right. Per usual, Anon76 comes in here trying to ruin shows. And by ruin shows, you know what I'm saying. Anon76 comes in here for one reason and one reason only, and that's to lay down the law. Fireball, Trace. Some have designated drivers, but this shout out goes to Nick for for being your best designated co-host. I need Nick. Let me tell you something. Nick carries this show. And you know what? I was waiting for you, Anon. Oh, brother. I was waiting for you. God bless America. 4th of July. Enjoy it. Anyways, Nick, back to his show. Thank you, Anon76. 76, by the way. 1776. United States of America. July 4th. America's team. Just goes hand in hand. All right. I don't even know where the hell we're at. Pen? We going to talk about the bullpen? The bullpen's incredible. Finally, I want to bring this up. Yes, Derek Law, by the way, that you want to talk about throwing a guy to the wolves. Like, hey, here you go, brother. Get your feet wet. Go out there. 3-2. 8th inning. Close it down for us, big dog. No big deal. The law will take care of it. Don't worry about the law for him. By the way, Kenneth in the chat, you just got my brain scrambled. 1976. We're talking about two completely different things then. Don't worry about that. Hopefully my history lesson's a lot better than that. But back to my pin situation. Buck Farmer needed this. Man. He's let two appearances in a row where he's gotten roughed up is probably a strong term, but he's gotten hit a little bit. And it's nice to see him bounce back, get through a clean inning. And I'm going to pass it to you because this fireball is working.
I feel like if there's anyone who embodies America's team, it's Derek Law, right? I mean,
that's right. The justice system.
It's just good to have him back. He's Mr. Reliable. Buck Farmer, who pitched well today, has been struggling, and it feels like Law and Farmer are the two just steady hands in this bullpen. And poor Buck, he had to really shoulder a lot of weight with Derek out. He got Derek back tonight, and he felt more comfortable, and he went out and dominated. So,
yeah,
this bullpen.
They clutched up tonight, though, because it felt like this was a game in which the offense wasn't going to come and save them, right? There's been games where they've come in before, the score was like 6-4, 8-7, whatever it may be, and it's like, okay, even if they give up a run in the 6th or 7th inning here, maybe the 8th, it feels like the offense is going to bounce back and they're going to find a way to kind of have another comeback win. Tonight felt different. Tonight felt, completely honest, it felt like we were dead in the waters if the Nationals tied the game up, period. And they went out there and give Jabot some credit, too. I put out a tweet that felt like Jabot struggled anytime he came in with inherited runners. Sure enough, the wizard that is Nick Kirby gave me the stats almost immediately on Twitter. And you brought up a good point. I think that inherited number, the inherited runners percentage of allowing them to score it can be very misleading based off the circumstances that you come into a game on. But Jabot did a great job tonight. It does feel like of all the guys, though, if you put me up against it, Jabot's probably one of the lower guys on this totem pole that I want coming in a meaningful situation. What's your list? Do you have a list? Not that we need to rank them, but where would you put Jabot on that list?
Let me pull up the roster so I don't forget anyone. Obviously Diaz and then Sims. And I know Sims has maybe struggled a little bit, but I still think Sims is by far the second best reliever. So I go Diaz, Sims. That's where it gets a little tougher. I think Derek Law is my number 3. And are we doing this power ranking style where we're kind of a little bit more recency bias? I'm going to do it that way. I'm going to do it. I'm putting Fernando Cruz next.
What?
There is some really good underlying numbers on Fernando Cruz. Look up Fernando Cruz on Fangraphs. Some of those underlying numbers look pretty good. So I have Fernando Cruz as my number 4. Then I'm going Buck Farmer.
You're going Fernando Cruz over Buck Farmer?
Look at the numbers, bro.
No. I mean, I'm just confirming. These are things. What about Alex Young? Just because he's a lefty on lefty, he can't throw to righties.
2.74 FIP for Fernando Cruz this year. So again, I'm recency bias a little bit. Buck's had a couple bad days, so I'm power ranking styling this right now. I'm saying if this was tomorrow and I wanted to win a game and I had to go inning by inning to survive, I don't know, then probably Alex Young, then Buck Farmer, then Duarte. Honestly, though, isn't it pretty cool that Duarte or Fernando Cruz or Jabot or whoever's at the back end is your worst reliever right now? I think that, like, this is the first time it really felt like the bullpen 1 through 8 are all capable pitchers. There's not a filler guy in there right now, in my opinion.
Well, they have some filler guys from time to time. Let's not act like they don't. Salazar, I think, would fit that mold.
But he's not down there right now.
I know. I get what you're saying. When they get everybody healthy, if that's ever going to be a thing all year long, then you're right. They don't have too many guys that you're going to run out there that you think that's just a mop-up, wash-up situation. In a perfect world, I think Luke Weaver would be that guy that would kind of be your long reliever in a bullpen. If you needed have a guy come in like in the second or third inning in an emergency situation, Luke Weaver seems to be that kind of guy. So maybe Dream Weaver will find himself to a bullpen near you at some point, but who knows? All right, let's do it. You start talking about a guy, you start questioning whether or not he's got it. You start bringing up the fact that if he doesn't show progress or promise relatively soon, that you're going to have to ask some hard questions. There's an elephant in the room. Joey Votto tonight. I am thankful that he hit a home run. I am very thankful. This isn't me hoping and wishing that that this goes completely south, obviously. But I'm still not overly convinced, if that makes sense yet. But I'm very happy that he contributed tonight. Those are the things that we need from a first baseman and a DH that we've been getting so far. So shout out to Joey for giving us the lead and ultimately, being the reason that, I don't want to say the reason, but a big reason as to why we won the baseball game today.
Yeah, he also had a barrel in his first at bat as well. That was hit very well. So good to see him have 2 really good swings, not just one, really good swing that went on the ballpark. 2 hard hit balls today, so that was good to see. I think this is just a different version of Joey Votto also than we've ever seen. I think you're going to see Votto have probably a lower average, maybe the lowest of his career this year, but he could still be a productive platoon player. Because I think he clearly still has some power. I mean, these aren't cheap home runs. I mean, he's hitting some absolute bombs. But I think maybe the days of the guy that pushed a 300 average, the guy that was over 400 on base, I think that's probably gone. And I think you've seen a trend, not just this year, but in the last couple of years where his average has dipped. And it's almost kind of like Pujols. Like Pujols was kind of that same way. Still had this incredible power. But like the average and a lot of other things dipped. In his ability, in Pujols' case, it was his ability to hit right-handed pitching. In Votto's case, I think it's probably his ability to hit left-handed pitching. But that's fine. If Votto's a great platoon player, big power bat, I think that also adds why batting him, like 6th in the lineup makes sense. As opposed to batting him higher up, because I'm just not sure he's going to get on base anywhere close to the levels we've seen before, but clearly still has some power left.
He does. And I mean, we need it. I don't know. I don't know. I hope it's there. He did have 2 barrels today. The ball that he hit relatively, well in the first at bat was a good sign, and then obviously going left center field Probably, I don't know what the distance was. You probably have it on one of those screens on your monitor there. My guess, though, before you pull it up, 397.
394. Well done, sir.
Yeah. But we'll see how it goes. I'll leave it at that. I'm just not sold on it. Is all I'm saying. I'm not sold there. You can't. Yeah, I'm not like, okay, I can relax. Everything's gonna be fine. You know who I actually think's gonna get it going sooner than later is Jonathan India. I don't want to jump off of Stevenson here really quickly, but just to squeeze the India segment in really fast, I think Jonathan India's having better at bats. He did chase a ball out of the zone on strike 3 earlier in one of his at bats today, but for the most part, he's hitting the ball hard. That's the only thing you really do when you're going up there to the plate. I think a lot of people that watch these games think that these hitters have the capabilities of trying to place balls in certain places and, hit the ball through a hole on the right side or pull the ball through a little bit of a hole on the left side. Listen, there's too much there's not enough reaction time for guys to be able to really do that consistently. Yeah, can you try to tailor your swing, or can you try to have an approach to go the opposite way? Sure, you can. But when you're hitting balls 95, 100 miles an hour off the bat, you're due to get some fortune. And I think that Jonathan India is starting to hit the ball hard. He's been hitting the ball hard is what I'm getting at, Nick. And it's going to turn around for him, I hope, relatively soon, because he deserves it. He's had too many good at-bats.
Yeah, I think probably got a little too low on India. I know it was such a hot topic is where he's batting in the lineup. Again, I kind of go to, I think David Bell wants to build some confidence in him.
What's the point in that, though? I mean, that's at some point, if you're struggling that long, Nick, I think it's safe to say it's okay to throw a little bit of a shock to the system a little bit, right? Can you at least admit to say, okay, if we threw him back in the leadoff spot just for a game, if you don't want him to be a leadoff, that's fine. But let's just do something just to kind of, I don't know, and it sounds stupid, but doesn't it kind of feel like maybe the same type of concept of, and again, this is more of a dramatic fashion, but you send a guy down, he comes back up, he's got a fresh new lease on life. It's almost like if you give Jonathan India somewhere else to hit in the lineup, maybe that, and it might not be it might be nothing, Nick. I'm not saying that would fix all the problems, but I don't see why it would be a bad thing at this point.
I also don't know if I want to move TJ Friedel out of the leadoff spot.
Okay,
because he's really seems to embrace that well.
Well, if the lefty's throwing, then that gives him the opportunity. But your point's well stated. If it's a righty,
yeah, they got a lefty tomorrow, so maybe we'll see that tomorrow. I guess that's certainly possible. Got a lefty on Thursday also, so
I hate when the Reds play lefties, and I know the stats don't bear that out. But man, do I hate it.
I think right now they definitely have a better lineup versus right-handed pitchers, especially just because of Ellie De La Cruz. And I think Ellie's gonna improve against left-handers. But I think right now, I mean, I don't think there's any question their lineup's built better to face right-handed pitching.
Well, tomorrow, Alex brings up a point. Kevin Newman's probably going to bat leadoff tomorrow. That's 100% a fact. We all know that. I don't know. I don't know what you do. I really don't know what you do with India. I'd like to figure out a way to kind of spark some interest or spark something with him, but the more I look at it, I guess moving him down in the lineup isn't sending the best message, and then moving him up in the lineup might be counterproductive. I would like to see Spencer Steer, though, at least start to get some at-bats a little bit more towards the top of this lineup. He's too good of a hitter, Nick. And I know you've said many times that you don't think lineups are really they're mostly overrated, but it would in my opinion feel a little more productive if Steer was a little bit higher.
Yeah, I mean, definitely on Sunday when India made 4 outs, almost 5 in the first 3 innings, I was like, man, I don't know. I don't know about my lineup pick here. It would have been nice to have Spencer Steer bat in those spots, but you switch them, and then there's a whole bunch of spots in India's spot in 7th, and it so much of this stuff evens out, but when it's the guy that's hitting 3rd and he's the one that's leaving guys on base, it feels way worse than if it was the guy batting 7th and he was leaving a bunch of guys on base. But it can happen really in either spot. And it's not like this is a lineup that is just the top of the lineup of the players that are good. I mean, the guy batting ninth today was Will Benson, so like this is a deep lineup. So I don't think it matters that much, but I do also understand why everyone's hell bent on it. But
I think somewhere between your outlook on the lineup and probably the outlook of the fan that thinks that Jonathan India, the only reason he's struggling is because where he's hitting the lineup. The truth lies somewhere between those two. Where it lies, I don't know, but we got to get it going a little bit for Jonathan India, and we also got to find a way to get Spencer Steer as many at-bats as you possibly can because he's one of the best hitters on this baseball team. And let's talk about Stevenson for a minute. I tell you what, Tyler Stevenson, if he continues to start playing this way, it changes our team dramatically. It really does. If he's able to even be, tonight's a perfect example, right, to where Tyler Stevenson doesn't have to catch the whole game either. I was thinking that the other day. Like, if Tyler Stevenson can get through like the 6th or 7th inning catching, and then you know what, you have to lose one at bat because you have a guy like Meyer come in towards the end of the game to close it out. Like, okay, we can live with that. Meyer's even shown that he's capable of kind of producing at the plate if needed. Now, as far as running the bases, I don't know about that, but I'm even open to that. I just don't believe that the solution's ever going to be DH for him, and you've heard me say that a billion times, so I won't keep saying it. But it is nice to see Stevenson hitting the ball hard and looking a little bit more like the old Tyler Stevenson that we come to love.
Yeah, I mean, he's playing really well right now. Looks so much more comfortable. That was a huge spot for him on Sunday to hit that home run, after the Reds had really controlled that entire game and then, coughed it up. And for him to come up big in that spot, I think that really, really was just big for him personally. But again, I go back to the lineup and you look at it. If Tyler Stevenson's batting 7th, 8th in the lineup and he's hitting anywhere even remotely close to what we've seen every year up to this season, my goodness, this is a playoff lineup. I don't know how to say it. I mean, this is a lineup that you look at and you go, that looks like a playoff team, at least in that capacity of your team. And it's just great to see him turning his season around. I hope it keeps up. Be interested to see their usage with him. One other point is I was listening to the Shout Out Jim Day podcast on my drive back today up here, and Andrew Abbott was on, and they mentioned I didn't even caught it. Luke Maile caught every single start that Andrew Abbott's made, so you're not going to change that around. So it'll be interesting to see kind of this usage with Stevenson and how that kind of plays out the rest of the year. But at least the offensive side of it seems to be solved to this point, at least for what you would need out of a catching spot.
Send Nick in the chat brings up an excellent point. He said, I think the fact that our all defensive catcher Casale didn't come in to close the game might speak to something. I think it kind of does a little bit. That's a good point. Casale has served a purpose for this baseball team. I don't want to act like he's worthless, but if you were push come to shove and you said, hey, there's one guy that has to go, I think we're getting really, really close, or if we're not already there to the point where Casale's that guy. And I don't think neither me nor you, Nick, have been jumping and beating the drum that we have to get rid of Casale, because there's really nothing right now that you could argue if you brought somebody up, they would make a significant difference with the Casale getting cut. So, and I get people are like, okay, cut Casale, bring up CES. Well, that doesn't really solve anything, because you still got guys that are taking up that DH and first base slot that you would presume that or expect them to get pretty meaningful playing time. And those two guys are Stevenson and Votto. And until one struggles, then unless hand in the air, unless they decide that they're going to play Stevenson or they're going to catch Stevenson a significant amount, and they're going to go back on their word, Nick, because their word was that he was only going to catch, I don't know, what was it, 30 games? What was it? What was the amount of
60?
60, okay. It was
He's already over.
It was
already
30.
over
It was
30.
30 games at first. It was whatever. It was some stupid shit that they were never going to do. Anyway, so maybe they do. Maybe Tyler Stevenson catching can make a huge impact on this team, not just because he can catch, but because it opens up the DH opportunity for a guy like CES. And you know what, CES, if we're being completely rational, he could come up and struggle too. It's not like, we've almost become a little bit spoiled, Nick, that all of these rookies are going to come up and look like Matt McClain. All of these rookies are going to come up and look like Spencer Steer. All these rookies are going to come up and look like Andrew Abbott. Those are almost the exception to the rule. Like, Elly De La Cruz, in my opinion, isn't even really struggling greatly right now. He's not. I wouldn't say like, oh my gosh, it's a huge concern. Is it a concern a little bit? Yeah. I'd like for him to be a little more confident right now, if you will. I think the swag that he had has worn off a little bit. He's gotten humbled a little bit. I'd like to see that demeanor and swag come back out. But he's, the funny thing about Elly is he always seems like he's just one day away from doing something incredibly special, and you're like right back on the horn with him. You're like, okay, all right, he's fine again. So I don't know. Maybe Elly to go out tomorrow. I'm not going to say he's going to hit for the cycle, but if he hits, 2 home runs and steals 2 bags, nobody's on the Elly needs to do something train. So his plate discipline sucks is a strong word. His plate discipline isn't very good right now. But he is young. I think he'll get better, Nick.
Yeah, I don't have a lot of concerns with Elly De La Cruz, and it's just good that there's not a lot of pressure on him right now to perform. I think that's nice too, that he's almost allowed to struggle, and it doesn't feel like, all right, Elly, we desperately need you. There's just so many guys in this lineup that can, take turns carrying the team on a given night, and I think that's going to help a lot of these rookies as the season progresses, that, they're allowed to struggle, and it's not going to be a big deal as long as there's, at least a couple of these guys that continue to produce well throughout.
Listen, Jonathan India struggled. If Elly did anything close to what Jonathan India has done the last 2 months, there would be people talking about how he's the biggest bust that there ever was in the Reds franchise. Just being... That's being honest. That's being honest. If he struggled as much as Joey Votto did, people would still do the same thing about Elly. The thing about Elly is I don't want him to leave, period, because he makes too much of an impact on the game in so many different ways possible. Hell, Elly could get hit by a pitch in the 7th inning and be 0 for 4, and that hit by pitch turns into a triple, in which ultimately leads to a run that wins us the game. There's not many guys in Major League Baseball, let alone our franchise, that can do that. So the whole Elly nonsense, it is just that. It's just nonsense. So I don't want to spend too much time on it. Speaking of which, I don't know if it's a good segue into the All-Star and Home Run Derby situation, because Elly said he did not want to do the Home Run Derby. He wanted to get some rest. I think this is getting overblown a little bit, Nick. I think people are like, "Oh, look how mature he is," and maybe I'm just toxic Trace here, but I don't read too much into that. Are you big on this train about his decision not to play in it or whatever?
I think you probably had some smart people in his ear that said this is not a good idea for you right now. But nonetheless, I think the result's good. Obviously, it would be incredible to watch Elly De La Cruz in the Home Run Derby, but it does not seem like it would be a good idea for him right now. And just like all the All-Stars, look, it sucks that Spencer Steer and Matt McClain haven't got the honor that I think they really deserve, but these are rookies that have never played a 162-game season. This rest is going to be really big for them. Now they could still both be added. So,
sure.
But I think this rest is important. And to be honest, like if there's one guy on this team that sent him to the All-Star game, I don't think it's going to impact us. Probably Alexis Diaz, because he's a reliever. These guys, I assume, probably have to at some point over the All-Star break throw anyways, right, to stay fresh for that Milwaukee series. So it's just like him pitching on a Tuesday, getting ramped up for that Milwaukee series would come back. I don't think it's a big deal for him, and the Reds have been pretty strategic in using him and have made sure they're not overusing him. So I'm not worried at all about him pitching in the game. as long as they don't make them go out and throw 30 pitches or something stupid like that. But yeah, I don't know. I feel like it's like very selfish of me to like kind of be like, I'm kind of glad they're not in the All-Star game, and it would be awesome to see them, like they deserve it. But I think the rest is really big for this team this year.
Yeah, I put out that tweet the other day. I said, as a selfish fan, I'm actually thankful that the Reds don't have any All-Stars. I think that the break is something that is very nice, that is enjoyable, that the players can kind of get a little bit of a reprieve from before they start and head on their journey for the next 80 some odd, or it'll be 70 some odd games. I don't know how much we should put into the stock of all of these rookies never playing this many games, but it's a little bit of a concern if you want. I mean, I don't know how big of a concern it is, but it is a little bit of a concern on my end that you got guys like Matt McLean, Spencer Steer, Benson. None of these guys really have this many innings. Andrew Abbott, none of them have this many innings. And if we were to get into a September, October situation, what do they look like? I don't know. You'd like to think they're young, they're in shape, all of that. It's less the physical wear and tear and more just the mental grind that is Major League Baseball. People, I think that's probably the most downplayed thing that is in Major League Baseball is the mental Olympics or mental grind that these guys have to go through on a daily basis. And many of you probably in the chat are like, oh, big whoop, it's baseball. They got to go to the ballpark and they get paid millions of dollars, and look how easy their life is. I get where you're coming from. I understand. Both my grandparents worked in factories for 35 years, didn't miss a day of work. That's the language and the saying that they would say. Oh, yeah. But I never even played close to 162, but there's been some summers where I was just tired of baseball. I mean, it was like I gotta get a break here, and that was the best physical shape I was ever in my life. It wasn't a physical thing; it was just all a mental component, and we'll see how it goes. But I am a little concerned about that. I'd be lying if I wasn't. That's kind of my take on the All-Star thing. You have anything else to add from the All-Star Home Run Derby?
Yeah, so listen to the radio for the first couple innings on Friday on the way down, and David Bell's interviews with Tommy Thrall. If you ever want like good information about the Reds, I think that might be where you can get like the most information. I wish they would like post that, but that's a whole side thing. I wish they'd post that like separate. But I have been trying as much as I can to listen to like what he says in the pregame. But on Friday, he said something very interesting that kind of goes along with this. He said that the Reds, he believes, are the latest arriving team to the ballpark, and they do that strategically, and that's like through their mental health coaches and all that kind of stuff. And David Bell was like proud of the fact that he says we work really hard to have efficient time when the players get to the ballpark so that they're less, and we believe that that's going to help them over 162, and it's something I had never really thought of, and something I don't really know. I'm not a scientist or anything like that. I don't know really how tangible that is, but I just found it very interesting. And could that be helping some of these rookies? They're that when they get to the ballpark, they have everything very efficient, so they're not there as long. I don't know.
I think that helps very much.
I like they're on the cutting edge of this, though. I like that, they're trying and seeing how that could work and if that could be a benefit. So
yeah, less is more oftentimes in certain situations. That brings up another good point. Zach Taylor and David Bell kind of communicate. I had heard that through whether I read that somewhere or whether there was an interview with David. He had spoke on the fact that they I don't want to say are great friends, but they communicate on certain things and what they do with their guys and try to bounce ideas off of each other. That's one thing that Zach Taylor's done with the OTAs. I'm not a huge NFL guy in regards to all the different dynamics that go with that, but Zach Taylor was kind of doing things much differently that were a lot less stressful and strenuous on these guys, and he felt like that was actually more of a benefit than to run them into the dirt like they used to do, right? Like let's break their will and build them back up type thing. So and I was watching Remember the Titans, shout out Sunshine, and Petey. But, it's just funny how the times kind of change. It's like, Waters for Cowards was the line of the movie, Denzel's out there doing a great job. And it's just like, could you imagine like that thought process back in the day? Is like, Waters for Cowards. Like, you don't need water. It's like, well, that's actually like one of the major components of an athlete, staying at their highest peak level is to be hydrated and we'll see. Maybe it's good. Maybe it's not. Maybe we're reading way too much into it. I don't know, but I am glad that the Reds are obviously on the winning side again. It feels like we're continuing to win baseball games. I'm not saying we're not supposed to win them, but every day we win one of these games, Nick, we're one step closer to doing something that we never thought was probably realistic or possible to begin the year with. And you keep looking at that schedule, you keep looking at the amount of games left, and we do this for another month. It's going to be hard for me not to envision us being in a spot that you can't say we're right there. And I think we have all the pieces to get there, and I think we have all the pieces that we need. Yes, maybe one or two starters, maybe one starter I would agree with. I don't know how you're going to find two starters. And the other thing that everybody forgets when we talk about this whole starting pitching thing is, guess what, Nick? Some of these guys that you can go out and get, they can come in and they could absolutely suck. They could be terrible. They could be worse than Luke Weaver. You want to go get Lance Lynn? That's cool. Let's just say Lance Lynn comes in. Let's say Lance Lynn has like a 7.5 ERA for the Reds the last month and a half. Like, that's very possible. That's more than possible. So to sit here and act like, whoever we go out and get as a starting pitching is going to be some shutdown arm, it's mind-boggling. It's not going to happen. It's irrelevant. It's ridiculous. We have a guy named Connor Phillips that if he could possibly get going, Nick, maybe there's your big-time arm that you add later in the season, if you will. So I like where the Reds are at. I like what they're doing. I believe in what they're doing. I'm excited for the future. And I'm also excited about what we have right in front of us.
You're going to wake up tomorrow on July 4th, Independence Day. The Cincinnati Reds are going to be 11 games ahead of the St. Louis Cardinals.
Fireworks. Funnel cakes. Maybe even some big league chew. Some wiffle ball in the backyard. Some hot dogs. Maybe for the elite folks, there'll be some steaks. But nonetheless, nothing says America like the Cincinnati Reds. And they're going to be in first place tomorrow, whether you like it or not. You can't argue that, Nick. You can't argue that. It's inarguable. All right, what do you got? You got some Reds MILB? Is that where we're going next?
Of course, we got some Reds MLB. Not a whole lot tonight. Dayton did not play, but the other three were in action. Oh, see, I'm out of my element here. Forgot a T here. Disrespectful. There we go. All right, Louisville Bats, they lost 5-3. Big story of this game, though. Really good. Jose Barrero, 3-hit day with a double. And then our guy, Richie Karcher, how about 2 shutout innings? Struck out 2. CES 1 for 4. Noelvi Marte 0 for 4. Chattanooga, they played a double header today. They lost the first game 15-10, won the second game 5-2. Not a lot of talent left in Chattanooga as they got plucked through. Everyone got promoted to Louisville, but Joe Boyle, 5 innings, 5 hits, 2 runs, 3 walks, 9 strikeouts. So pretty solid start from Joe Boyle. Good to see. And then Daytona Tortugas, they lost 3-1, but Sal Stewart stayed hot, hit his 7th home run of the year for the Tortugas. That's your Reds MILB. Fairly quick, it's short and sweet. Presented by Betfred Sportsbook.
Love it. Love it. All right, tomorrow's a little bit of a unique day, Nick. I know we always do tomorrow's starters. We got to let the people know who, what, when, where, and why. Let's let you run through that. But the time slot for tomorrow is unique.
Yeah, 11:05 a.m. So coffee and Reds baseball. Reds will be going up against Patrick Corbin, who's really struggled the last couple of years, signed that big contract, then really has lived up to it. Hasn't really been all that terrible this year. He's actually currently on the bereavement list, but is expected to be activated prior to the game. But he didn't actually miss the start due to being on the bereavement list. Pitched on June 28th. And then his last time out was in Seattle, and he threw 7 shutout innings, no walks, 9 strikeouts. It was the first time all season he allowed less than 2 earned runs in a start. So hopefully Reds aren't getting Patrick Corbin at the wrong time. He's pitched well in his career against Reds, career 3.87 ERA in 12 starts. He's been dominant over the last 2 seasons against the Reds, even when he hasn't pitched well overall. 3 starts, only allowed a total of 4 earned runs in those starts. Kirk Casale has a home run. Stuart Fairchild, who you expect to be in the lineup, 1 for 2 with a home run against him. So hopefully that can keep up. Brett Kennedy is expected to be the bulk pitcher tomorrow. Might be starting, might be coming out of relief, similar to like what Levi Stout did in Miami earlier in the year. Reds will have to make a 40-man move prior to this game. But good for Kennedy, pitching in Major League Baseball for the first time since 2018. Made his MLB debut back then with the Padres. He made 6 starts, but then he was injured in 2019, missed that entire year, didn't pitch in 2020 because of the pandemic. Then he got second in the minors in 2021, and then he actually went down to independent ball. And in 2022, and to start the season, was with the Long Island Ducks, but the Reds picked him up. He's been pretty good at AAA, 3.71 ERA in 8 starts. Did get hit pretty hard his last start against the Pirates AAA team, but the start before that, he pitched 7 innings, only allowed 1 run against the White Sox AAA team. Doesn't strike out a lot of guys, but he also doesn't walk a lot of guys. So good luck, Mr. Kennedy. This kind of feels like probably the most difficult matchup of the series for the Reds, but hey, nice to get that first one out of the way. Makes holding on to today on Monday all the more important.
Question in the chat: what is a tortuga? A tortuga is a island off the Caribbean, off the northwest coast of Haiti. But in the Urban Dictionary for Food for Thought, the tortuga describes a person who is very studious and cares a lot about grades and studying. Which also, back in my day, we just called those nerds. Nick, were you a nerd? Did you get good grades? Look at this. He's going to try to find the Nicolas Cage pillow. This is what a rookie move by Nick. What a rookie move. You would think that Nick would have this thing figured out by now. He needs to have Nicolas Cage pillow just sitting right underneath the desk.
Okay, come on, man. I drove 5 hours today.
Oh, listen to
Give
this.
me a break.
Listen to this. And tortuga may be another word for a turtle. I don't know. That's just what Google told me. I have no clue what a tortuga is, if we're being completely frank. And yes, that's another crutch word that I have. We have 147 likes. Mouse Cop is begging for likes. If you don't mind, we like to have likes on the stream. There's a good chance it's probably why we're going to win tomorrow. Get to 250 likes. I have a good feeling that we're probably going to win tomorrow. Nick, you have a pillow. I dunk basketballs. Show the people at least the pillow. We need to see it. It's been a while. It's been a really long time.
Out of practice. Let's see. Oh, thought I got the right
I feel like that's part of the bit. That's part of the bit.
Yeah, it really is at this point. I'm like my kids. My daughter, she can never, like, you think like she'd have a 50% success rate of getting her shoe on the right foot, but she has like a 5%. It's incredible. She poor girl, she never get it right, but she gets it from me because I clearly can't do the Nick Cage pillow right. So there you go. Nick's back.
Hopefully that's not
Cage
a genetic. Hopefully that's not a genetic situation. Just hopefully the IQ level is coming from her mother.
Yeah, God help her.
All right,
it's coming from me.
A couple promos before we get out of here. Just so you know, Off the Bench will not be in tomorrow, so don't worry about Off the Bench. And Chatterbox Reds, of course, will be back better than ever in full force. You can download the podcast, rate and review it. It is daily after every single Reds game. Believe it. And you know what else I have to say? We have a lot of support around here. We do appreciate everybody. We need to, I'm going to make a little small push here. We need to finish out these Reds tickets if we can. If you've not gotten a Reds ticket for Chatterbox Reds night, as I've said a million times, you can go on our website right now, chatterboxsports.com, buy $100 worth of merch, add the ticket, you get the ticket for free. We're losing money on the deal, but that's fine. We want people to go. We have, I don't want to say a ton of tickets left. We have more tickets left than I thought we would, which is I'm not saying it's a bad thing or a good thing. We're going to use them all regardless. But if you want tickets, please, by all means, do that before they are gone. I'd hate to see them run out, and the next thing you know, you had, I don't want to say a week to get it done, but that's here nor there. So until tomorrow, hopefully we have another dunk on our hands. But for tonight, we definitely have one. Joey Votto still bangs. I got to give him some credit. I wasn't sure if it still existed in there. I'm happy to see that it's possible. The consistency is the part we got to figure out, and we will. I promise you. But as I've always said, thank you for watching this show. It might feel like a broken record to you guys. I know it's tiring hearing me say the same stuff over and over again, but I don't really want to go too many shows without saying that, because the amount of people that consume this show is a little mind-boggling from time to time. And I really do appreciate your loyal listenership, your loyal viewership on YouTube. If you got a question, please post it in the comments on the YouTube chat. And we've said that time and time again. But till next time, you know what we got to do. You know what we got to do. I think we should do this too. I'm not going to try to kill the vibes. We're not going to try to ruin the vibes. But just one more time. One more time.
Many wrong or rights, neither could change the headstrong ways. You know what I'm talking about, Houston?
You know what I'm talking about? Not Houston, Cincinnati.
Did the lovers rage?
If you don't like Luke Weaver, then I don't like you. Well, that might not be true. That might not be true. Let's hear this chorus one more time. We're going to talk about basketball. Copyright strikes are absolutely ripping. But you know what? A man of integrity, man of honor, a man of honor. One love. Love all of you. I'm going to cut that before we get ripped off of YouTube. So, here we go. Cue the music. Cue the music. See you tomorrow. Love all of you. Go America. Don't ever forget it. God bless America. God bless America. God bless America. God bless America. And God bless Cincinnati Reds. Some call it America's team. George Washington would be pissed. Not an athlete. See you tomorrow.